Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Katie. I am the owner and artist behind Salvaged by K. Scott. I am a furniture painter who makes my living right here out of my home, taking found and thrifted pieces of furniture that are worn out or just plain outdated and bringing them right back to life. In this week's video, I am collaborating with my good friend Kristana from Bella Renovare. She's an incredible furniture artist who is a master at bringing bright, beautiful, bold designs to life on her furniture pieces. In her video for this week, she's actually going to be creating her version of the upcycled IKEA dresser with the cane feature that I did a few weeks ago. I'll be sure to leave a link to Kristana's video down in the description box so that when you're done here, you can go check that out. Now let's go take a look at what I'm going to be working on this week. Another gorgeous mid-century modern style dresser that I picked up at my local Habitat for Humanity restore for $5. It had been sitting out on their showroom for quite a while, and I'm gonna give it some love. I'm going to start this project the way that I start all of my projects, by removing the hardware and giving everything a really good scrub down. Not only is cleaning your piece going to make your paint finish better, but I find this time is really good to give my whole piece a really good once over and find any areas that I need to repair. I decided to lift this guy up on the workbench so that I could repair that little piece of veneer that is coming away, and also so I could clean the cobwebs off the bottom side and remove the legs for painting. There's just this one little spot in the back corner of the dresser where the veneer is chipped and lifting away a little bit. So I took some wood glue on a scrap piece of cardboard and used that to smear the glue up under the lifting veneer. Once I had a good amount of wood glue in there, I just clamped this down to hold it until it dries. All right, I'm just not a fan of these mismatched drawers, so I'm gonna take some wood filler and try and fill in these details as well as the old hardware holes, because I want all 4 drawers to have a really cohesive look in my new design. My wood filler took about an hour to dry, and once it was ready to go, I came back with some 220 grit sandpaper and smoothed everything out. A couple of the drawer interiors were messy with some pen marks and just general wear and tear, so I also used some 220 grit sandpaper just to clean up the interiors of the drawers. Once the glue was dry on my veneer repair, I just came back with a little more wood filler and filled in the missing area as well. And a little more sanding on the body of the piece with the same 220 grit sandpaper to scuff things up, give my paint a good surface to hold on to, as well as buff out any minor scratches or nicks in the surface. Time to prime. This primer is going to make sure that I have a smooth, consistent finish between the original finish on this piece as well as all of the filled areas. I applied 2 coats of my favorite bin shellac based primer with a 4-inch microfiber roller to the entire dresser. Once my primer was dry, I came back to have another look at the drawers, and I just wasn't convinced that when I added paint to these, it was going to completely camouflage all those filled areas. So I'm gonna do something I've never done before. I'm gonna wallpaper the drawer fronts. I picked up this gorgeous roll of textured wallpaper from Lowe's. I'm just gonna follow the instructions and we'll see where that takes us. Once I had all of my wallpaper cut down to size, the instructions tell me I need to soak it for 30 seconds and then book the wallpaper and allow the adhesive to activate. Once the wet wallpaper had had a chance to activate for 5 minutes, I unfolded everything and carefully applied it to my drawer fronts. Once I had the wallpaper lined up perfectly, I just used my hands to gently press out any air bubbles and make sure everything was smooth and straight. I let the wallpaper dry on the drawers overnight, but when I came back the next morning, I noticed that while it was really well secured in the center of the drawers, the edges and the corners weren't as sturdy and stuck down as I was liking. So I came back with a little bit of Mod Podge and just tucked that underneath all of the edges, especially on the corners, and made sure that everything was super stuck down. A few more items of prep before I can go ahead and paint this piece. I'm going to be wrapping all of my drawers in this Scotch blue painter's tape and plastic in one to protect the interiors. And I also gave all of the primed areas a quick sand with a super fine sandpaper to knock back any texture that had been left behind from my roller. I also quickly taped off the metal portion of the legs so that I'm not getting that gunked up with paint. I want to paint this dresser in a really deep, dark, rich navy. I'm going to be spraying my finish to get the super sleek, modern finish that I like. But my girl, Chris Donna at Bella Renovare, has an incredible tutorial on her channel on how she achieves a flawless dark finish with a brush. Darker colors of chalk paint can be really tough and tricky. So seeing how a few other artists tackle the specific subject of dark hues can be a real game changer if you're wanting to create a dark finish yourself. To create the dark navy that I want for this piece, I'm just going to be using some leftover paint from other projects. Here I have Country Chic Paint in the color Starstruck and Licorice. There's no recipe for this. I'm really just pouring whatever I have left together and mixing it up. I also added a little bit of water to thin things out for my sprayer. When I do a sprayed finish, I use my gravity-fed pneumatic HVLP spray gun. I'll leave a card up above to a video that I have all about my spraying setup if you're interested in seeing if it's something that might work for you. I sprayed my entire piece with 2 full coats of this paint. It dries really quickly. I only waited probably about an hour between my first and second coat, and because I sprayed it and it laid down nice and flat, there was no need for sanding. I always apply some sort of protective top coat to my chalk painted finishes. My favorite is the Varathane Diamond Wood Finish in a satin sheen. But when I'm working with darker colors like this navy, I like to tint my top coat a little bit. I just add a tiny bit of my paint color and gently mix it into the top coat. This helps it apply a lot smoother and doesn't get any ghosting or fogginess that is really common when you're applying a top coat to a dark colored finish. The entire dresser got 2 coats of top coat. If you have any texture in your first coat, you can always go back with an ultra fine sandpaper to smooth things out before you apply your final coat. Before I put the legs back on the box of the dresser, I wanted to jazz them up just a little bit. I sprayed them with a quick coat of this Rust-Oleum metallic gold color, but then I decided that was a little too bright. So I came back and did a second coat with this Rust-Oleum metallic finish in more of a coppery brown color. But once my pulls arrived from Amazon, I realized that color wasn't right either. So I ended up going with this Craftsmart metallic gold in an acrylic paint. I just gave the spray paint a light scuff up with a superfine sandpaper and then use a brush to apply this paint. Now that I was sure that I had the right metallic color on the tips of these legs, I came back with my small artist brush from Country Chic and just touched up the lines so that everything was nice and crisp. I gave those another couple of coats of top coat, and then it was just time to measure out for my new hardware, drill a few holes, and put everything back together.
Walk through the door, I'm hit by the same old tide, blinded by the lights, and I'm going through changes, but it's easier with you. I'm going through changes, and so are you. And I find the moments when you're around me, I know you've got secrets, but I can't keep on, and we're fading in.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today as I created this piece. Please make sure that you drop by Bella Renovare by Kristana to check out how she does what she does. She's incredible. And I will catch you guys next time.